You are completely out of order. You are attacking my ruling, and I think you don't have that authority to do so.
Yes,
Honorable member, please, I've been listening to you. Don't give me that temptation.
The intention to refer this to a committee.
Honorable member, resume your seat. Resume your seat.
It is wrong.
Minority Chief Whip, you have a difficulty in catching my eye again.
And tonight, narrow escape once again for Ghana's Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta as Speaker of Parliament hands motion of censure to an 8-member ad hoc committee to the disgust of the minority side of the House.
I stand on behalf of these gallant men and women in the minority that someday tomorrow we can stand together to censure and remove non-performing, incompetent ministers. With this, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move.
We have a blow-by-blow account of happenings in Parliament today where the Speaker sparked controversy with his decision to deflate the piling pressure from across the aisle, asking President Akufo-Addo to kick Ken Ofori-Atta out of office.
Ultimately, everybody wants the finance minister to go away. If you want to go to Kumasi, you can either go by air, you can travel through vehicle or anything.
If you have been parasiting food and they call for free food, it's like your wife has just cooked. So why now they have the free food? The opportunity for the censor is moved, and now they are running away.
And Top Story, as always, is brought to you by Vodafone. Further together, I am Blessed Soga. And tonight, the expectations or hope of many that the fate of the finance minister will be sealed by close of day today. We'll have to wait for 7 more days. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta leaves to fight another day as Speaker of the House, Alban Kingsford Bagbin, hands him a lifeline as he refers the motion of censure to an 8-member ad hoc committee to give him a hearing and report to the House in 7 days. Earlier, the minority outlined 7 key issues as the anchor to force the hands of President Akufo-Addo to dismiss his cousin, the finance minister. Listen to Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu make the case earlier today.
How much we spend on imports, whether it's rice, whether it's chicken, whether it's oil, we are very, very capable of producing it in Ghana. It is the only point I agree with the president, that we must cut the heavy imports. We should, and we should support him, but he must come with far-reaching policies and major investment in the agricultural sector for us to be able to achieve that. But Mr. Speaker, trust and confidence issue is the same government who said we will not go to IMF. You are back to IMF. How can we believe you that you have a commitment to cut imports? Mr. Speaker, it is on the strength of this that today I stand on behalf of these gallant men and women in the minority and pray that the majority leader, who courageously have publicly manifested that there is weight in our demand for the exit of the minister, will stand firm with his public declaration. That public declaration, Mr. Speaker, will do parliamentary accountability and oversight a lot of good into the future. That someday, tomorrow, we can stand together to censure and remove non-performing, incompetent ministers who mismanage this economy, lead our ordinary citizens into unacceptable hardship, and our concern is there is no hope inside. With this, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move.
So that's how it all started when the minority leader there, Haruna Idrisu, pitched that motion on the floor of the House. But the Speaker himself, Alban Bagbin, determined that the specific allegations against Ken Ofori-Atta would have to be referred to an ad hoc committee to give the minister a fair hearing and for the committee to investigate and report back to the House.
Let me assure all of you that the Honorable Minister of Finance will be given ample opportunity to defend himself. There's a vast difference. A council cannot appear on the floor of the House. It has to be at the level of a committee. And that is why, under the standing orders, when you go through the standing order 106, standing order 106, 1, it reads, the House may pass a resolution to remove the President, the Vice President, Mr. Speaker, and Deputy Speakers, and a vote of censure on a Minister of State. The second line, as we say, the second sentence is, the House may consider such motion and come to a decision or refer it to a committee on a motion made by any member. And that is why I'll be referring to a committee, because the minister is entitled to appear before the committee with counsel. That will also give the applicants the opportunity to put across the evidence at their disposal. And then they'll report to the House, and the decision will be taken.
And this singular decision by Alban Bagbin sparked a lot of controversy on the floor of Parliament. The directives from the Speaker generated some sort of a back and forth between himself and the minority chief whip, and visibly enraged the Speaker of Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, when you come to our standing orders, I want to refer, Mr. Speaker, the 106 and 108. Or the emphasis is here. The House may consider such motion and come to a decision or refer it to a committee on a motion made by any member. Mr. Speaker, with all respect and humility to you, in this text, nowhere did he say Mr. Speaker will refer the matter to any ad hoc committee. It says that the House may take a decision, and decision in this House, Mr. Speaker, is taken by vote.
Honorable, you are completely out of order. Honorable member, I don't take my rulings lightly. You are attacking my ruling, and I think you don't have that authority to do so. If you want to attack my ruling, come by a substantive motion. Your understanding of during the debate of matters before the House is not only during plenary session. At the committee level, what you do there is to debate. That is why when you agree at the committee level and you come and put across the case here, you don't waste time in debating again. Please, that is why the same rules that apply to plenary apply to committee level. Yes, you go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with the greatest of respect to your office, the House is defined in these standing orders as Parliament. And Mr. Speaker, Parliament, it is this chamber with the 275 members. Mr. Speaker, when it refers to
Honorable member, please, the House cannot be constituted without a speaker. I've been listening to you. Don't give me that temptation.
Mr. Speaker, I hope I have your permission to continue speaking.
Yes, you have my permission, but
Speaker,
I think that you have to withdraw
so long as I hold this
Honorable member, you have to withdraw it and apologize.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I'm happy you've given me the permission to speak. And Mr. Speaker, one of the cardinals of democracy is to listen to each other, even when we disagree with each other. And Mr. Speaker, on Order 106, I am reading to say the intention to refer this to a committee.
Honorable member, resume your seat. Resume your seat.
It is wrong. It cannot be right. Even before the Speaker says it. I beg to second the motion with a clear indication any attempt to move this matter to a committee will be a travesty of justice done to the chamber of this house. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I direct that all what the minority chief has said, after I have told him to withdraw and apologize, be expunged from the records. Minority Chief Whip, you have a difficulty in catching my eye again.
And I want to start off from Parliament itself, the very charged atmosphere there as we speak, by bringing in our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, who joins us on the telephones and lines now with details. Kweku, let's start off with what transpired today. But I want to first of all talk about the composition of the ad hoc committee, 8 members in all. But there's a bit of a unique situation here. We're having co-chairs and also tell us about the membership of this committee.
So, Blessed, 8-member committee to be co-chaired by 1 member from the NDC side and another member from the NPP side. That is KT Hammond from the NPP side as a co-chair and Dominic Ayeni, the Bolga East MP, as the other co-chair from the minority side. You look at the other members who form part of this committee. From the NPP side, we have Kwame Anyimedu Entry, Ejapa Mesa Andrew, and Patrick Yabuama. These are the other 3 MPs from the majority side. From the NDC minority side, you have Zaneto Ajiman Rollins, Okujetu Ablakwa, and then Bernard Ahiafo. These are the composition of the 8-member team that are expected to look into this matter and report back to the House in 7 days.
And then earlier today as well, we heard from the rebel MPP MPs, if you want to call them as such, the 80 that started all of this before the minority's intervention to ask for a vote of censure. What are we now learning from these MPs who say, well, we agree with the president, let's conclude the IMF negotiations and we can have a conversation on the removal of the finance minister?
Blessed, so these MPs have changed their position. They now say they are not willing to wait for the finance minister to conclude the IMF negotiation, and they will not allow the minister to present the budget. Indeed, the point they are making is that despite this strong opposition to the finance minister and their unwillingness to allow him present the 2023 budget, they will still not support the position that the minority had canvassed. And they made that point clear in the morning before the vote of censure even hit the floor.
Over a few days, we've had the finance minister speaking, and his speaking is informed majority of us in the caucus. Not only to state that we are back to the original position that we took, and that original position is to say that the Minister of Finance will not be the one who must read the budget and must not be the one who will do the appropriation. We are here to say that this is going to be very soon for you to see the position of us. And we are going to be positively defiant on that posture until that action is taken. However, we are not going to support the cause of the NDC in the chamber.
So we're clear now that it's not just a minority situation and that the minority is equally getting a buy-in from the majority side of the House. But quickly, just before I bring in my guest for tonight, tell us about why the NDC MPs are not happy about the Speaker's ruling today.
So they anchor their position on the Constitution. They say that the Constitution is clear. When it comes to votes of censure, there's nothing like a committee supposed to hear anything from anyone. And that once the motion has been moved and seconded on the floor, if the finance minister was so minded and he wanted to be defended, he could come to the chamber of the floor and be heard in his own defense and not having to put this to another committee. And that was a position that was canvassed by the minority chief whip, for which he was shut down by the speaker. Just when the minority left the chamber, I spoke to a former majority leader, Cletus Avoka. He used to lead the House under President Mills. He said that he was also equally surprised about this decision by the speaker. He didn't think it was right. He said that they are not going to challenge this now. They're just going to allow the committee to do its work for the report to be back in the House for a debate and a vote to be taken. They just think the finance minister has postponed its inevitable exit.
Kweku Asante is our parliamentary correspondent, and in the long run, it appears that the ruling of the Speaker will stand. So let's hear from the MPs who will be working within a 7-day period to conclude on matters as to what they think about calls for the removal of Ken Ofori-Atta as finance minister. I want to bring in now Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, who's a member of that committee, ad hoc committee that was set up by the Speaker today. Ejapa Andrews Mesa is also on that committee. Good evening to you, gentlemen. Welcome to Top Story. I want to start off with you, Mr. Ablakwa, by finding out, first of all, if you also side with your colleagues in Parliament over that displeasure that we've seen with the ruling that was given by the Speaker.
Well, good evening, blessed good evening to all listeners. It is important to stress that so far as we in the NDC caucus in Parliament are concerned, this is not the outcome we anticipated. You heard our leader say a couple of weeks ago that the three-line whip had been invoked. We were ready for a vote because our reading of Article 82 is very clear that within 14 days, which really lapses today, the decision should be made once we meet the various requirements. And what are those requirements? First of all, 1/3 of MPs should trigger the process. We got more than that number. 7-day notice, we did that. 14-day notice, we satisfied that. What was remaining was for the debate to take place, and then a vote should be taken. Remember that the constitutional provision, which was the bone of contention about the finance minister being heard, we were not opposed to he being heard. We believe in the principles of natural justice. We take due process seriously, and we thought that a clear reading of Article 82 of the Constitution and Standing Order 108 is clear that the minister who a vote of censure motion has been filed against, that minister has the right to be heard during the debate. That is the express provision, during the debate. So our expectation was that today the finance minister will avail himself of the opportunity. Mind you, we cannot force any minister to be heard. Yes, he has the right, but if he doesn't show up, I was expecting that the finance minister will show up today, already he's been notified. The 7 grounds had been well advertised. He knows about them. We will have led evidence today when the motion is moved and seconded, and then he will have the right to be heard. And then a vote will be taken. That's what we all expected. So I must be honest with you that, as you could see from our body language and indeed in what culminated in that banter, unfortunately though, between our chief whip and the right honorable speaker, which created the impression as though, the leadership of the House and the speaker were at loggerheads. Because you see, we don't want a derailment from what the focus is. The focus is that the overwhelming majority of Ghanaians, our constituents, who sent us to Parliament, are saying that, look, enough of the incompetence, enough of the lawlessness of this finance minister. This finance minister has violated Article 178 of the Constitution, withdrawn monies from the Consolidated Fund without parliamentary approval, claiming that he's going to construct the President's Cathedral. The monies really didn't even get to the project. As we speak, that project is a Galamsey site. This is a minister who has engaged in naked conflict of interest. He himself, on the record, in this House, has said that he's made about 159 million Ghana cedis from bond sales. This is a minister who has misreported. The IMF has exposed him. This is a minister who has plunged this country into the worst difficulties in my lifetime. I don't remember any time in recent history where the World Bank says that cost of living and food prices is the highest in Africa, over 120%.
But you agree that the claims that you're raising, for instance, the claim that he's illegally made some payments into offshore accounts, all of these claims would have to be verified through a very meticulous exercise. You agree that your debates on the floor of the House alone could not have exhausted the process to convince your members enough to get that buy-in from across the aisle to get Ken Ofori-Atta out of office?
I don't agree with you, and that is not the wording in the Constitution. The Constitution says that during the debate he should be heard. Who has stopped him from coming to Parliament to be heard? Nobody has stopped him from coming to Parliament to be heard. Who stopped him? Everybody throughout the whole planet knows that today the Ghanaian Parliament will debate the vote of censure. Who has stopped him? You see, it is his conduct even today, speaks to a certain contemptuous posture. I mean, no regard for Parliament and for due process. And there's so many examples. You recall the tough times I had with him, getting him to come account on releases for the presidential travels, those rented jets, those ultra-luxury chartered jets. A lot of rigmarole. Eventually, he came telling us that he doesn't have answers for us. So he is very consistent with his nature and the contempt with which he treats Parliament. That is why now his cup is full. You have MPs on both sides. And I'm really disappointed that when it mattered most, our colleagues on the other side who had held a press conference on the 25th of October and said that they want the finance minister out and that they would not cooperate with the budget, with appropriation, and any other government business. When they had the opportunity today, they betrayed the Ghanaian people. They left their constituents in the lurch. And I think that this petty partisanship is really at the heart of what is destroying our country. Look, lives are at stake. Livelihoods are at stake. People are losing their jobs on a daily basis. People can't eke a living. And we are in this parliament. The Ghanaian people are looking up to us. And we're engaging in petty politics, trying to protect one man when we should be thinking about the millions of Ghanaians who are suffering, reeling under the incompetence, the mismanagement, the corruption, and the total ineptitude, the alarming disregard for our laws.
Okay, Mr.
By
Raphael,
one man.
of course, you have a fine opportunity now to grill him and to put the questions to him. I also want to hear from Andrew Ejapamensah, who will be serving on that committee with you. Mr. Ejapamensah, I'm grateful for your time. Many are accusing you, the NPP MPs, of choosing, quote, party interests over the broader national interest. How is it coming to you then that today that issue about the removal of Ken Ofori-Atta was not simply put to a vote? Because after all, after the 7-day period, the House will have the opportunity to decide on the same issue.
Let me say good evening to cherished listeners. It's unbelievable when members of parliament who have sworn an oath, to abide by the tenets of our constitution and by extension democracy, who then subscribe to the belief that we practice the rule of law, want to practice something other than that. Because clearly, if you want to interrogate a man and you don't afford him an opportunity to be heard, that clearly sins against the tenets of rule of law. You've raised allegations that border on law, and you are saying that the finance minister, even without any proof that he's been served with your motion, should, because there's ample publication out there in the public domain, should appear in plenary to participate in a debate that borders in some instances on questions of law without counsel, because legal representation cannot be allowed on the floor of parliament.
And then when you make that point, the minority quickly points you to the constitutional hurdles that a council may face in terms of appearing on the floor of the House. You had your colleagues raise that point.
That is why, in the wisdom of the Speaker, he felt that it was appropriate for this matter to be referred to the committee so that the finance minister can have the opportunity of counsel to respond specifically to the questions of law that have been raised. Okay? And so I'm baffled by the attitude of my colleagues on the other side. In any event, it is not the case that the allegations that you leveled against the finance minister has been dismissed, which then would warrant the kinds of utterances that is coming from them. What the Speaker sought to do
was to put the issue before a committee of parliament that then affords the finance minister an opportunity to defend himself against the myriad of allegations that have been leveled against him. Indeed, and in fact, if you leave it to us politicians, and I'm not going to go into the merits by reason of the fact that I've been nominated to serve on that committee, because that would clearly amount to me prejudicing myself with respect to the outcome of the exercise that we've been tasked to do. But listening to Okudzeto Ablakwa, I'm tempted to respond, okay? Because if you allege that the finance minister has made illegal payments out of the consolidated fund to fund the president's cathedral, what really do you mean? When indeed in the 2019 budget, the Minister of Finance indicated that the state was going to make a contribution towards the building of a national cathedral by way of land and seed funds. And you then go ahead and approve the budget, okay, which then includes this proposition. And the minister then goes ahead, even though there was no specific line item. And indeed, and in fact, he knows, he's been in government before, that such expenditures are funded from the Office of Government Operations.
But what appropriations were made for that? I don't intend to belabor that point, but what appropriations were made for the National Cathedral?
In any event, yes, but you see, it's important that we put these issues in their proper context when we are having a discourse of this nature. Because otherwise, then you muddy the waters and the issues are played within MPP.
Okay, but then, look, for the sake of time, away from all the legalities, there's that single point in the 7-pointer issues being raised by the minority, which some believe you cannot contest. The fact that the Ghanaian economy is not in a good shape, a reason for which they are holding Ken Ofori-Atta to account. And just go onto the streets now. Inflation at a record 40.4%. That's where we are now. What more do you need to convince you that indeed the economy is not going well and that someone has to be held responsible?
The President in his address admitted that we are not in a good place. The Finance Minister on countless occasions that has appeared before Parliament has admitted that we are not in a good place. But you ought to look at the context within which the Ghanaian economy is where it is today.
Mr. Ichapamesa, for the sake of time, who do you believe we should be holding responsible? Who do you believe we should be holding responsible for all of this?
Our economy negatively. Is it not the case that the Parliament of Ghana breached the PRM, the Public Financial Management Act?
But I'm asking the question as to who we should be holding responsible. I'm just answer that question for me.
By a particular date. That then resulted in the ratings agencies downgrading our economy.
Mr. Ichapamesa, just answer that question for me. Who should we be holding responsible, if not Ken Ofori-Atta, who's managing the economy? Who should we be holding accountable?
Oh, of course, you ought to hold the managers accountable. But if you're holding people accountable, you need to be able to afford them the opportunity to then come and defend themselves as to whether indeed, yes, I'm responsible for management of the economy. But is these issues one that is within my control, or that they are external factors that cannot hold him blamable for? And that's the exercise that I expect the committee to dispassionately carry out and submit its report to the plenary for a proper debate to take place and the decision taken one way or the other.
Okay, gentlemen, we've run out of time, but then let me give you the concluding remarks then. Start off with Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. You have 7 days to present the report. Are you in for business?
We are able. These matters are very clear so far as some of us are concerned. We think that even the 7 days is too much time. But we respect due process. I want to assure the Honorable Ichapamesa. And let me indicate that the Honorable Ichapamesa and his colleagues must know that they can't have it both ways. They have to make a decision. You are either on the side of the Ghanaian people who are reeling under the incompetence, the mismanagement, and corruption of this finance minister, or you are on the minister's side. I mean, they are blowing hot and cold. In one breath, they are on the side of the minister. In another breath, they are pretending that they are with the Ghanaian people. We are clear where we belong. We are patriotic. We are nationalistic about this. We are with the Ghanaian people who have sent us to Parliament. We are in solidarity with them. They are reeling under this one man's utter disregard for our laws and his alarming incompetence which has brought us here.
Right.
And we are not prevaricating at all on this matter.
And we await what the outcome will be after 7 days. Andrew Sejapame, as you wrap up for us, you were indicating earlier that we should hold the managers, not just the finance minister, to account. So I also want to find out from you, because the president indicated in his last address that you were looking for cheaper sources of fuel. That's become a subject for national controversy. The fact that you're not doing much about it. You just returned from the negotiations. What are you able to tell us?
That subject matter is not the reason why you called me, and it's only fair that you let us deal with the issue for which my good friend Okudzeto Ablakwa has sought to pitch the NPP against the good people of Ghana.
But are you able to assure the people of Ghana that you
deal
have
with whatever conversations
you have
that we are having
prices under control, and that in the coming days we'll see the effects?
Say it again.
Are you able to assure the people of Ghana, although you may not be able to disclose the details, that
Look,
indeed in the coming days?
Event, okay, we've begun a conversation to try and see how we can get some assured commodity for of petroleum products to avert any potential shortage, if any. And that conversation is ongoing. But to the point for which you invited me this evening to have a conversation about, I'm saying that we on the majority side, okay, feel the pinch and the pain that the Ghanaian public is going through. Indeed, we reside in this economy and we know the impact that the rising inflation, the depreciating fee is having on the cost of living and the well-being of people. His Excellency the President has assured that whatever it takes for him and his government to bring these issues under control and bring relief to the good people of this country is what is going to do. But that doesn't mean that we should slaughter people who are not blamable. Okay? And so it's important that we go through due process to establish that indeed and in fact, all the allegations that have been leveled against the finance minister, and in my view, they are all bogus, okay, are properly dealt with so that we can put the issues where they belong.
Okay, then.
And the decision made to that effect.
And we have 7 days for all of this to unfold, and you can tell that it will be pretty much a divided committee, but we await the outcome of that. I'm grateful to you, Andrew Sejapame, and also Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa for joining us. There will be members of the 8-member ad hoc committee set up by Speaker of Parliament to probe Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Next is Newsnight.
Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. In the next 60 minutes,
we give directive, and when we give directive, we expect that people will comply. It is only when we fail to comply that we may take the next step.
Loud cry from students in basic schools to President Akufo-Addo to intervene as teachers' strike enters day 4.
Our teachers are on strike. We only play and go back home. We need the government to bring back our teachers.
We want them to come back so that we learn how.
Here in the Greater Accra region, students are making a passionate plea to their teachers also to return to posts.
We want them to come back so that we learn how.
Okay, what about you?
I need to.
What do you want?
I want them.
Well, we hear from educationists on the situation as teachers remain on strike nearly 24 hours after the National Labour Commission directed them to return to the classroom. Also, transport terminals in the Northeast Regional Capital getting empty as vehicle owners and drivers continue to park their vehicles in response to the high cost of fuel.
This is frightening. The increment in fuel prices is getting worse, and sooner rather than later, we will all park our vehicles.
But what is the outlook as energy analysts warn we could be seeing more hikes in fuel prices next week? We'll hear from some of them also tonight.
When I mentioned the MC name, you need to know.
Whistleblower in Galamsey campaign goes into hiding after he was severely beaten by illegal miners for exposing them in a Joy News documentary on Galamsey.
And in business, price of MTN and data bundles set to go up from next Monday. We'll find out what has influenced this and did it secured the regulator's approval.
not send supporters to Qatar for the 2022 World Cup. That's according to the Youth and Sports Minister, Mustafa Yusuf. Details in 50 minutes.
And General Legal Counsel comes under fire from some lawyers over his decision to withhold Ghanaian YouTubers' call to the Ghana Bar was put on hold for lack of good character.
They are being so unfair to the young lady. There appears to be some confusion. It is the law school that must handle this matter, not the General Legal Counsel. It is the Board of Legal Education.
We have details of a petition to the council, which is the petitioner facing heavy backlash on social media. That and more here on Newsnight Live, on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra and Kumasi, on Love 99.5 FM. We are on Twitter Spaces, Facebook, myjoyonline.com. It's a good time to join in with your thoughts and comments. It's via WhatsApp 055 1111 997. I am Emefa Apau. Please stay for details.
Our teachers are on strike. We only play and go back home. We need the government to bring back our teachers.
We want them to come back so that we learn how.
Tonight, that's a loud and resounding call from some basic school students to President Akufo-Addo to intervene in ongoing industrial action by teachers. Since the start of the week, academic activities have grounded to a halt as NAT, NAGRAT, and concerned teachers say the appointment of Dr. Eric Nkansa as Director General, as well as the extension of the stay of the Deputy Director General of the Ghana Education Service, will spell doom for the education sector. The teachers are also negotiating for the renewal of the soon-to-expire conditions of service. While some schools have shut down, while students in schools that remain open loiter around. My colleague Michael Ashale was at the Newtown Experimental School, where the students are pleading with their teachers to call off the strike.
Students of Accra Newtown Experimental School wholeheartedly playing in the absence of their teachers. Academic activities have grounded to a halt as members of NAT, NAGRAT and concerned teachers since Monday, November 7, 2022, abandoned their post. In the absence of the teachers, the pupils spend their time loitering until it is time to close. I saw you playing the ampe. Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes.
Whose teacher didn't come to school? So what have you been doing?
We learned, but our teacher didn't come to school today.
So why did you come to school?
Yeah, our parents said that we should come to school. That time we didn't see any teachers in the school. We didn't do anything in the morning.
So Monday you came to school?
Yes.
So Monday to Thursday, what have you been doing?
We didn't do anything.
Mariam Amoa is a JHS1 pupil. She fears the strike, if protracted, will disrupt her education and her dream to become a renowned musician.
But it will affect my future. I want to become an actress, musician, comedian. I want to build an hotel.
The pupils are appealing to their teachers to reconsider their stance and return to post. Do you want your teachers to come back?
Yes.
So what would you tell your teachers at this moment in time?
We want them to come to school so that we learn hard.
For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Well, in the northeast region, school-going children at Nyonyo in the Nyonyo and Nusani district want President Akufo-Addo to intervene for the return of their teachers to the classroom. Correspondent Ilyas Otanko has this report.
It is day 4 of the ongoing nationwide strike by teachers at the pre-tertiary level. And here in the Nyonyo-Nusani district in Ghana's far northeast, there is a complete shutdown of the basic education sector. The strike action is hitting hard as all classrooms remain closed and deserted. The education sector in this area is already in complete shambles, characterized by dangerous school buildings, limited classroom teachers, and the lack of teaching and learning materials, including furniture, which are hampering the provision of quality education. The strike action is therefore worsening the situation in this district as all academic activities are completely halted. School-going children here are confused by the situation, but in order to keep themselves busy, Some still come around to their schools every day with the hope that somehow their teachers will return to the classrooms to teach them. Here at the Junyo DA Primary School in the district capital, only a few children are seen loitering and playing hardly in the dusty school compound without the presence of their teachers. We don't have lessons. We play all day, she says, and plead for the return of their teachers. Our teachers are on strike. We only play and go back home. We need the government to bring back our teachers. It is evident that these children here lack quality education, as none of them could speak basic English. Some of the children have, however, chosen not to waste their time coming to school every day only to meet empty classrooms without their teachers. Rather have decided to help their parents in their farms and other ventures. It's about 9 a.m. and usually these children who would have been in their classroom study are in the bushes here busily harvesting these touch grasses. Speaking with Joy News, the children plead with their teachers to return to the classroom. So boki morma incharma boki yanzana. Our father sent us here to get the grasses to roof our rooms. I'm in class 3. We want the government to pay our masters their monies. Okay. Ilyas Sutanko reporting for Joy News.
So that's the situation in the Northeast region. Why are we seeing such a situation when indeed the NLC, that's the National Labour Commission, yesterday ordered the teacher unions to call off their strike? Listen to the Executive Secretary of the Commission, Ofosu Asamoah, yesterday.
The Commission saw reason that they had something that they could complain of, but they have to engage with the ministry. So they have been given 1 week to engage with government on the 2 issues that they raised. That is the appointment of Dr. Nkansa, that's Eric Nkansa, as Director General of GES, and then the extension of time for the Deputy Director General, who after his retirement, he has been given extension to be in office.
Now, beyond the strike, if the teacher unions fail to call up, what will you do? Will you go to court, seek court intervention?
They will call off. That is why it was adjourned for 1 week.
What word did they give you before walking out of the meeting?
We do not take word from people whether they will comply or not. This is an institution. We give directive, and when we give directive, we expect that people will comply. It is only when we fail to comply that we may take the next step. But in a period of 1 week, at least they gave us the assurance. They gave us all the assurance.
Well, so that's the National Labour Commission there. After that meeting yesterday, that they are sure that the teachers were going to comply. Since then, all the teacher unions, they've been tight-lipped. They haven't said anything. But our checks on the ground reveal that they have not returned to the classroom. Let me take you to Parliament and find out from the committee there on education. We have the ranking member on the education, Mr. Peter Nochukotoi. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight. So how is it the case that we still have teachers on strike over appointment of a Director General of the GES, and our children are suffering for this? Is there really an intervention from your outfit on this? Mr. Nochukotoi. Hello, Mr. Nochukotoi. Well, it doesn't look like I have Mr. Nochukotoi there on the phone, but the concern that many parents that have been interacting with us have been talking about or raising is the fact that these teachers are still on strike. It's day 4 of the entire action, and children are bearing the brunt for this, in spite of a National Labour Commission directive that these teachers should return to the classroom. We've been trying to raise all the teacher unions. It's been difficult speaking to them about when exactly they will return to the classroom. But in all this, my colleague Richard Kujonyako has been following up on this for us. He's been to all the meetings, been gleaning from these particular meetings. Yesterday, yesterday, for instance, Richard, after that meeting where we saw the NLC directing the teachers to go back to the classroom, it appears that the labor unions were not happy about this. Tell us exactly how they reacted to this.
So it's intriguing. The way they were granting us interviews, they were speaking with us, and then after the directive by the National Labour Commission came, they decided not to speak with us. We've been trying to speak with them on whether or not they will heed to the directive of the NLC, but to no avail. And so we are still waiting for them, and it leaves some kind of uncertainty among the teacher fraternity, because they do not know whether the strike is still on or they should go to school. And so that is what many teachers are asking for. Many parents do not also know. They are confused as to whether the directive is okay and the teachers will heed to it, or they should wait for something from the teacher union because they declared a strike, and they should also suspend the strike as well.
Okay, but the NLC was clear. Hopeful. We heard from the Deputy Employment and Labour Relations Minister, Bright Rekubrobe, also hopeful that the teachers were to return to the classroom at least today. That did not happen. I'm sure you've been finding out from the NLC as well as the Employment and Labour Relations Ministry.
So I remember that I put that question to the Executive Secretary of the NLC, and he said that once it is a directive, they do not have anything other than to comply. And so they gave them assurance, according to him, when they met them, they gave them assurances when they all came to a conclusion that the procedure they used in calling the strike was not good, was not appropriate, and so they should call off the strike, engage government. And you heard Bright Rekubrobe there saying that, well, they are prepared to engage the teacher unions on their concerns. And they had two pertinent concerns. One on the appointment of the new DG, and the second was on the continuous stay of the Deputy Director General of the Ghana Education Service. They said that they have been renewing his contract when other people that have also got into that position could be appointed to serve that term.
Okay. Well, Richard Kudinyako, thank you very much. Let me bring in the boss of the National Labour Commission, interacting with my colleague Richard Kudinyako yesterday after that meeting. Very hopeful that the teachers were going to heed that call. Mr. Fosu, we are grateful for your time here on Newsnight. You've been interacting with the labour unions, I suppose. How is it that they have not returned to the classroom?
Yeah, that's an unfortunate development. And really, in every relation, it survives when trust is built and you respect each other. If you are such a union who appear before the commission, a directive is made after we have listened to you, you promise to adhere to, just to go back and defy the directive. So the next time, if you have a problem, would you come before the commission? Or if you come before the commission and decisions are made in their favor, would they expect the government or their employers or this thing to respect it? You see, the survival of the National Labour Commission and the mandate for which it is supposed to deliver on, to make sure that there is harmony at the industrial front, is undermined when the very players, industrial players, disrespect the directives of the commission. You see, whenever you come there, we have agitated, government is doing this, our employees, we said this, we give directives, and you expect the government to do it for you. And on your side, you disrespect the directive of it's unfortunate. Anyway, we have taken the next step. And we will make sure that our directives are respected.
What is this next step that you've taken beyond the lamentations you
said? That is to move to court to enforce it.
Have you done that yet?
Yes.
So today you've been to court to ask the court to help you enforce
we have
that
filed
directive.
the processes, and tomorrow we will continue.
So do we have that directive from the court? Has it been served on the labor unions?
That I don't know. That it is the court that will tell. We have filed our process and we'll go on.
Okay, so what exactly would you seek the court to do in this position?
To enforce our directives. For them to return to the
classroom. On what basis are they still staying home? How was the strike declared? But through a press conference. Is that what the law says? Is that what the law says? And our strike declared immediately, as it was done on Friday, through a press conference. Did they give adequate notice, as was required by law? And these are the very things they admitted before the commission that they had faulted.
They
Anyway,
admitted in that meeting you held yesterday that they had faulted the processes that
That
they
is
used.
so.
were
The
not
records
right.
are there. I mean, records of the National Labour Commission are there for anybody to see.
And they agreed at the end of the meeting to call the strike off when you directed them.
You see, it is not easy for them to agree.
Mm.
This is a commission that's why we call it directive. You are making an appeal. If we are appealing to you, that is where you consider whether we will let us agree, let us do. It was a directive by the commission, and you must comply. So failure to comply, it will be enforced against you.
What would happen? Because it appears that your first directive was not heeded. You're hoping the court will help you, enforce that
It is not for the court to help. That is what the law says.
Mm-hmm.
It is not for the court to consider whether it will help us or not. The law says that if there is defiance, go to court and enforce it.
Well, many parents listening right now are only concerned because most of the time,
Yes, and
teachers
parents must come out. When they have paid fees, they have done their part of the contract, and the other side, which the teachers are not doing their part, parents must come out. I have not heard any parent on the radio saying they're condemning a teacher's action.
You may not have listened to Joy News because we've heard a lot from parents.
Yes,
but
there are a
really,
lot of
I'm
radio.
curious.
It's not Joy FM alone.
It's okay.
But the
It's fine. But you have to listen to Joy. Then you can know what is
I
happening.
do.
But I would want to find out from you at the negotiating table yesterday. I'm curious. Was it just the issue about the appointment of Dr. Eric Nkansa and the extension of the contract of the Deputy Director General that's the key concern for these teachers, for which reason they've been on strike for 4 days?
They were not at the negotiating table.
I'm sorry,
yesterday.
that meeting that you held.
At the hearing of the commission, they had two issues. The appointment of Dr. Eric Nkansa, and then the second was the extension of, what do you call it, contract given to the Deputy Director General of GES.
And these are the key reasons why they've stayed out for 4 days. Nothing else.
Yes. If there are any other issues, that was not before the commission.
Okay. Well, and what did government say? Government agreed to talk after the call of the strike. What exactly was the government's position in that meeting or
The
that
government position
NLC's
was to
hearing?
continue with what they have started because they were still negotiating, talking.
Ms. Ofosu Asamoah, we are grateful and we await that ruling from the court and see how we'll be able to enforce that particular directive of the National Labour Commission. And that's the Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission, Mr. Ofosu Asamoah, there. And it's still very difficult reaching any of the teacher unions on this particular issue. But as and when we do, we'll definitely bring that to you. We're also hoping to speak to Mr. Peter Nochukotoy, but his connection is not allowing us to do so. But let me turn our attention to some other stories. And transport terminals are getting empty as vehicle owners and drivers continue to park their vehicles in response to the high cost of fuel. In the Northeast Regional Capital, for instance, drivers say they can no longer cope with a constant increment in the prices of fuel and have decided to park their vehicles to avoid further operational losses. According to them, the transport sector in the region could collapse if urgent steps were not taken by the government to reduce the price of fuel and other basic goods on the market. Elias Sotanko he's been reporting and monitoring the situation. He joins us live on the line on this. We'll get to him shortly, but here's his interaction with some of the drivers.
In the past, I used to buy fuel at 80 Ghana cedis to travel to Wale Wale. Now the price has jumped to 280 Ghana cedis. This is frightening.
In your case, in the mistake, you could watch your man pie.
This terminal used to be a graveyard of vehicles waiting to load passengers to their destinations. But today, what do you see? This is very concerning. The increment in fuel prices is getting worse, and sooner rather than later, we will all park our vehicles.
Well, that's Ilyas Otanko there interacting with some drivers. It's become very difficult in terms of transportation in and around the city. He also got a chance to interact with the regional GPRTU executives on this.
The
government must intervene in the situation because it is our only source of livelihood. Our families depend on us. This is the only means through which our problems get solved. These are some of the conditions that sometimes force the youth here to engage in robberies. So our leaders must relook at how to deal with the fuel increments.
So that's the GPRTU executives there interacting with Ilyas Otanko. Thankfully, he joins us on the line. Ilyas, so then how are residents coping in terms of transportation in and out of the city?
Well, as I speak to you now, pump stations are getting empty. The entire region is now depending on mobile fuel that are brought in from Togo and Burkina Faso. It's been very difficult. When it's 6 o'clock in the northeast regional capital, you are not going to get vehicle to your destination because the drivers are saying that they want to cut operational costs. And so by 6 o'clock, all of them are parking their vehicles.
And you've been interacting with the executives. I've heard the concerns that the drivers have been raising when it comes to this. But you've been visiting some of the transport terminals. Really, how serious is the situation?
Yes, increasingly they are getting empty. More people are parking their vehicles. The GPRTU chairman told me that he believes that this particular fuel increment threatens the survival of the transport business here. And so, yes, more people continue to park their vehicles just to avoid further operational costs.
Okay, well, that's the situation in the northeast region, and that's my colleague Ilyas Otanko bringing us up to speed on it. We've been hearing from some drivers as well and the regional GPRTU executives on this. We're hoping to also be joined on the phone by the executive director of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, Duncan Amwa. We're told earlier that this week we could see some marginal reduction in fuel prices, but it appears that expectation may not happen. We've been hearing from Andre Japamesa, also interacting with my colleague Blessed Sugan a while ago on Top Story. Not clear when exactly that cheap fuel that we're hoping to come in will actually come. The team has returned from Abu Dhabi, but we don't have a clear indication yet when exactly we're going to be seeing those products coming into the country, such that the price of fuel will go further down. But let's talk about our campaign, #NoToGalamsey. And a whistleblower in the campaign against illegal mining has gone into hiding after he was severely beaten by illegal miners for exposing them on the Joy News documentary on Galamsey in homes at Odumase in the Ashanti region. Eric Obinge Champon, spotted with multiple wounds on the back, chest and hands, and as well as his face, said he was seized by over 30 illegal miners, kept and beaten for about 4 hours. Eric's crime was that he spoke to Joy News about the digging of pits in homes at Odumase, which led to the sinking of a household toilet, which killed a young woman about a month ago. Well, he's been interacting with my colleague, Erastus Asaridonko.
Ghana, Oko toilet, yeah. Otina toilet in his toilet in the SNK. Almost Joy phone, I be interview me. My kind of question, Galamsey, and I'm so magani a day. Eti Galamsey for a mobile adiasa 30 minimbi edin ba minimbi din omoche me be say 4:30 to 5 omuja me na kobo be 9 omobo me papa obitimi fro obi ofon say achi no ogu adwuma omabo me pa me ho atwitwa omose me kan no kra ma boy MC din omose MC na de afa say small scale man and Galamsey aba eti when I mentioned the MC name plus this issue need to know and omo me say no omo me say maso na emoja kura fiti say me no di komo maso e di etikasa ba we o di ade bo ha kura me nte because me security say me.
Well, so that's Eric Obinge Champon there narrating his ordeal to Erastus Asare Donko. So he says that after about 4 hours, he was kept by these men, over 30 of them, and they beat him mercilessly. He's reporting of multiple wounds on the back. You also hear him there speaking tree that one ear is unable to hear anything. And at the last check, we are told that he had gone into hiding. Erastus Asare Donko has the very latest on this situation. Erastus, when we last spoke, we're trying to find out what authorities were going to do about the situation because he had filed a complaint at the police station. What more are we learning now?
Well, so I have spoken with the divisional command of the police service. The divisional command itself was not aware because he says the case might have been filed at the local level at Udumasi or Konongo. But then the command has taken his details from me, and they have promised to work on it to get the perpetrators arrested. But as at the time I was reporting, I have not gotten any information as to whether any arrest at all has been made.
Well, but I'm sure you've been in touch with the MCE, head of DISEC, amongst others, really. Is it the case that they are looking into this matter? Has it been brought to their attention in any way? What are they doing about it?
MFA, the MUSEC itself has evaded our attention for a very long time since we filed that story about digging inside homes at Udumasi. We've been trying to get the MCE to comment on what the Municipal Security Council will do about it, but we have not gotten him yet. He has not been responding to our calls. Again, the issue of digging in homes still continues, and this particular issue, though we are informed, it has come to the attention of authorities there. Nothing has been done about it.
Certainly, this was not the birthday present you were hoping to get today, is it?
No, not at all, not at all. And I was expecting that the whole town, Udumasi, that particular area, Apeboso, is at risk of collapse. There are about 6 notable buildings that you could see the earth caving in and sinking. The buildings actually sinking when you look at it. And until authorities do something about it, we'll hear another collapse of a building very soon.
Okay. Once again, see you at the GJA Awards on Saturday. Congratulations to the nominations once again. That's my colleague Erastus Asare Donko, and joining us on the line with the very latest on this particular happening, a whistleblower, rather unfortunate situation. George, welcome. It's time for business.
Well, MFA, from depending on the network that you're, and if it's MTN, from next month they'll be paying a little bit more for your data usage because it's going up.
And we have been served notice.
Yeah, so an advance notice coming from D Telecom's player. Also, finance experts wants the president to review his decision on Ken Ofori-Atta and remove him from office, as current development is creating more uncertainty about the economy and direction. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Ghana Pay and Allianz Life.
Hits FM is unveiling another yet mind-blowing event dubbed Schools Reunion. Yes, Schools Reunion is back. Let's bring back your old school memories. Were you a fan of Jama? Did you love your Gary Silkins? What about them rap battles? Say no more. Join us on the 26th of November at the Airwalk Stadium, and let's have crazy fun rapping our various schools as we reminisce on our high school days. You don't want to miss this experience. Hits FM Schools Reunion. Come rap your school in grand style. Schools Reunion is proudly brought to you by 10 Best for the Better. Cobra, our lives simplified.
The 2022 World Cup begins in no time, and Multimedia Group Limited is championing a unique support wave across the world for the Black Stars. Come Qatar 2022, the nation will be one, rallying behind the Black Stars with one cheer song.
God bless our homeland, Ghana,
Cheer Song promotion is sponsored by Global. Order anything, we deliver in minutes. 10 bets for the better. Airtel Tigo Sikakoko data bundles. Enjoy huge data at lower cost. Simply dial *111# now. Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
HD Plus, you win double.
Yes, so HD Plus has brought the Orekwado double promo this World Cup season. Watch the World Cup feely on your HD Plus decoder and get the chance to visit Dubai feely with your partner this December. So you see, you win double. If you have an HD Plus decoder, subscribe 3 months and above and dial *844*8# to enter the draw. If you don't have a decoder, rush and buy one at an authorized dealer or any Electroland outlet to enter the draw. Additionally, there are over thousands of prizes such as TV sets, microwaves, and many electronic appliances to be won. Dial *844# and win big in the Orekwado promo from now till 5th December 2022.
This promo is in partnership with the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
Kofi, talk to me. What's your full name?
My name is Kofi Etiemo Goodman. My nickname is Brazier.
Your nickname is what?
Brazier, as in bra.
What is it called when a person takes too many steps with the ball without bouncing it?
This is a basic thing in basketball.
Yeah, but I don't play. This height doesn't look like the height that we use for basketball. Shall we review the right answer? He's right. Please give it up for him. The man was so about his answer.
Step Up airs Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Step Up is sponsored by Glovo. Order anything, we deliver in minutes. And Adansa Travels, feel life's beauty.
We are on DSTV 281, GoTV 180, HD Plus, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and all other social media platforms. Joy Prime, the ultimate experience.
Do you want to explore and enjoy the benefits of plant-based food nutrition? Then join us this year at VegFest 2022. The Vegetarian Association of Ghana, in collaboration with EcoBank and the John Hopkins Meatless Monday campaign, presents its annual Health and Fitness Festival from 25th to 26th November 2022 at Fatima Gardens, Christ the King International School, Cantonments, Accra, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Theme: Voice for the Voiceless, a plant-based food affair. It's a free family fun day affair event with lots of healthy plant-based foods, natural products, cooking demonstrations, our health summit with amazing speakers, and much more. Just wear comfy shoes and bring along a friend and come with a good heart and let's have some fun. Free of charge. For more information, contact 0553-556279. Veg Ghana, empowering healthy lifestyles beyond a meatless diet.
Gripping conversations, business opportunities, and inspiring life stories in the engine room. We have it all. Tune in to Springboard, your virtual university with Reverend Albert Okran, this Sunday at 7 p.m. on Joy 99.7 FM, Facebook, and YouTube. Catch the repeat telecast on Joy Prime every Saturday at 9 a.m. Sponsors: Enterprise Group, MTN Pulse, UMB Bank, and Central University. Media partners: Joy FM, Joy Prime, and Graphic Business. Springboard. Your personal value will shoot up.
Here's where we turn around. Here's where we turn around.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, from next Monday, customers of MTN will be paying more for data consumed on the network. Now, this was after the telecoms operator in a notice informed customers about the increase in the price of data on the network. But what has influenced this move? And have they secured the necessary approval from the regulator? There is more in this report.
Sources close to the National Communications Authority have told Joy Business that MTN doesn't need approval from the regulator to go ahead and review its data prices. The authority adds that under such circumstances, MTN just has to inform the regulator about its plan and then go ahead and review the rates. Joy Business understands that if MTN was the only player, then the rate should be approved before the announcement. Persons close to the telecoms giant MTN have told Joy Business that the review is in line with the current economic conditions and the depreciation of the Ghana cedi, which has impacted on its cost of operations. Therefore, there's a need to find some innovative means to share this burden.
And that is a report on MTN's planned increase in their data prices from next Monday. Now, finance expert and lecturer Professor Lord Mensah wants President Akufo-Addo to review his stance on Ken Ofori-Atta and remove him from office, according to Professor Lord Mensah. Current developments in Parliament, and even calls by his own members of Parliament, members in Parliament, that he should be removed from office. It's even creating more uncertainty about the direction of the economy and who is supposed to lead it. His comments is coming out of the Speaker of Parliament directed an ad hoc committee to look into push for him to be censured.
I mean, there seems to be that kind of uncertainty. But then his presence in itself is also uncertain, because a situation where, you know, your own party, about 86% or 86 of them in Parliament are calling for your head, and the president not deciding on whether to remove you or not, in itself, you know, is uncertain. And so for me, with the presence of the finance minister, it has created that kind of uncertain, you know, cloud on the Ghanaian economy, and it's not giving the investor the necessary confidence. And I believe that if we should take a bold decision, or the president should take a bold decision to remove him, it should be able to bring some kind of, certainty in the space. Because the same finance minister was telling us that he's not going to IMF. We ended up at IMF. Same finance minister telling us one thing, different thing is being done. So in itself tells you, his capabilities and, you know, how, you know, he's managing the economy. So effectively, I think his presence is rather uncertain. But then removing him will bring some briefing, you know, space.
Professor Lord Mensah is finance lecturer and a consultant. Now, Securities and Exchange Commission has given the firm assurance that no decision has been taken on any debt restructuring and its impact on bond and treasury bills holders. It follows reports that recent directive to fund managers on valuations can be linked to possible reduction in returns, as well as their funds being secured on time. But the Director General of the Commission, Reverend Enlogba Amitete, maintains that government has given the firm assurance to ensure that local market is protected. It's been given more clarity on the recent directive.
There's a lot of speculation as to what government would do or what government would agree with the IMF regarding its debt to ensure sustainability. We don't have the details, but there's a lot of speculation in the system, you know, about haircut. But when we talk about mark to market, it has nothing to do with a haircut. We are just saying that it's a valuation approach or methodology that we want the fund managers to use to indicate to the investing public that this is looking at the current market price of the securities we have invested in. This is what the value would be. Okay, and it's not about haircut at all. And like I explained just before you asked this question, there's a concept of unrealized gain and unrealized loss. Okay.
Reverend Enlogba Amitete is the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Now, consumer goods manufacturing giant Unilever, through as the Hygiene Soap Lifebuoy, has appointed 2 chief education officers who spread the important message of hand washing with soap and water. These 2 chief executives were announced during the celebration at the Christ the King International School here in Accra after a nationwide selection process. Now, Lifebuoy believes that the move may help in enhancing brand visibility and promoting hand washing among students and the general public. And now, for one critical question, everyone is asking that can Ghana secure a program or agreement with the IMF before the end of this year? That's the question on the minds of a lot of Ghanaians, economists, and those who are following this engagement with the fund. And that is what we'll be looking at tonight on PM Express Business Edition, as in whether we can secure a deal with the fund before the end of this year, the impact on the broader economy, the budget, debt restructuring, and what it will mean for businesses and even consumers out there. I'll be engaging the Minister of Information, Kujo Upon Nkrumah, getting us more details on progress of discussion. Also, economist Dr. Chufulus Champon, and an investment banker and executive director at Bora Capital, to get some understanding about the capital market space and what the investors are saying about the economy. That is William Mensah. What do they want? Timelines, the impact again of these negotiations on the Ghana City at 9 p.m. on the Joy News channel, and more details, and also on all our social media platforms on PM Express Business Edition.
Also on myjoyonline.com with George Riafe, PM Express Business Edition, 9 p.m. tonight. You can't miss it. Let's do some of your messages. Jones Adoboy Inla says, I really admire Mr. Speaker today. His control and the in-depth knowledge on the parliamentary procedure was just on point. Very fair and genuine, not like someone we used to know. He art. That's Jones, your message. We have this one also from Honorable Ayuba from Yagbong in the Savannah region. Says the Speaker of Parliament surprised many of us today for not taking kindly to some constitutional matters raised by some of the parliamentarians. In fact, the Speaker feels like, okay, he knows everything with regards to business of the House of Parliament, which is not disputed, he says. And this one also is a message that we have from Samin Kumase, and he's asking a simple question. Can someone who have not gone through the ranks of the police service be made IGP, or a person without medical background be made the Director General of the Ghana Health Service? Why are we trying to put a round peg in a square hole? That's Sami in Kumasi. That's your message. This one also from Sapenu Kingsford. It says, if I may ask, did the president break any law related to the appointment of the Director General of the Education, or the president didn't have power to appoint and fire anymore? It's only Ghana that government workers go on strike and get paid. We're sick as a country, he adds. And we have this one also from Nana Spintex Road. Says, can't the so-called banker just step down for the education or teachers to move on? Why put dentists as ministers of education and bankers as directors in Ghana by politicians? It's simply because they have doctorate in their chosen fields, is a question he's asking. And I have another message from William Ingomwa. I'm just shocked at the level of insensitivity of this government and its appointees. Why is government insisting on appointing Dr. Nkansa? Is he the only competent person in their stable? Asks a number of questions. I can't go through all of them. And there's one also here. These NPP members of parliament are very, very confused. They only talk big with huge lies. He says, you wanted to sack the finance minister for poor handling of the economy and conflicts of interest. Now the NDC has given you the platform to kick him out. You are running away, he adds. And what happens to the laptop that teachers paid for? Almost a year now, these computers have not been given to us, he says. The NLC is always predictable. If they want Ghanaians to respect them, they should be proactive. The teacher unions issued a date for the strike more than a week before the press conference on Friday. Godwin in Kumasi. Many thanks for your messages that you've sent in. It's via WhatsApp on 055-1111-997. Let's do sports. Musbao, what do we have?
Yes, we are just 10 days to the World Cup in Qatar, and while we wait for the final Black Star squad, which is expected to come on Monday, government has disclosed that the state will not send any group of supporters to the World Cup. Now, Minister for Youth and Sports, Mustafa Yusuf, revealed this at a presser when Goldfields Ghana presented a check of $300,000 to the Black Stars.
Situation we have found ourselves, the government will not be using consolidated fund to fund anybody as a supporter to Qatar. But what we will do, as historically you know, we will continue to rely on corporate Ghana to support us so that we can get some few supporters to support our national team. As we all already know, I've also announced to the entire country that Ghanaians desiring to travel to Qatar for the World Cup support our stars can go through Kempon Travel and Tour, the official travel agency by this ministry, to get your tickets and get all the arrangement made for you so that you can travel to Qatar and support our stars. The ministry is also working very closely with the mission, that's the Ghanaian mission in Doha. We have a lot of our brothers and sisters in Doha, and we are mobilizing every week, just like we are doing here, to support our stars. They have been rehearsing week in, week out to support our stars, and we are working very closely with the Ghanaian community in Doha to also support the little one that we will be able to galvanize support from corporate Ghana to go to Qatar and support our stars.
So that's Minister for Youth and Sports, Mustafa Yusuf there. So for Monday, 11 a.m., the 26-man squad of the Black Stars for Qatar 2022 will be unveiled.
Okay, we wait for that. I'm sure you have the names up your sleeves, but you keep it close to your chest, right? We'll talk about it when it's finally released. Now, let's do some other stories. And the General Legal Council is coming under fire from some lawyers over his decision to withhold a Ghanaian YouTuber's call to the Ghana Bar for lack of good character. Saudai MP and member of Parliament's Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, Roxanne Nelson Dafamakbo, is accusing the General Legal Council of unfairness and disregard for the principle of innocence until proven guilty. His accusation comes after a Ghanaian YouTuber's call to the Ghana Bar, we now know has been put on hold for lack of good character, although she has successfully completed the professional law program that saw her pass her exams and interview. Elom Ababio, popularly known as Amma Governor, will not be called to the bar tomorrow when her colleagues formally join the legal profession. Well, Maxwell Agbagba has been monitoring this whole story as it unfolds. He joins me in studio. Maxwell, what else do we know? Let's talk about it.
Well, we are learning that a video recording of her YouTube content is said to show her allegedly engaged in, and this is an extract from the letter sent by the GLC, and says, conduct unbecoming of an applicant to be called to the bar, unquote. Those videos, we are told, were attached to the complaint to the GLC. We also told that the General Legal Council has constituted a 3-member committee to investigate the complaint, and her call to the bar has now been put on hold pending the outcome of the investigation.
And this particular petition has generated a lot of talk also on social media. Yeah. Well, you've been trying to find out about her. We'll talk about it, but let's talk about this particular petition and the talk on social media about it.
Well, the petition, it's signed by one Hajia Siduri, and the contents, it says, I'm writing to formally draw your attention to a long list of disturbing public comments and publications by one Miss Amagavna Abebiu, a student of the Ghana School of Law. Miss Abebiu has breached the code of conduct for students of the Ghana School of Law and therefore does not have good character and should not become a lawyer in Ghana. Miss Abebiu can be seen on widely circulated videos of herself and other students damaging the reputation of the school's lecturers and that of the entire school. It continues to say that there are also videos and website publications indicating she's in the habit of having sex with other females. And it says that one of the publications...
All in the petition.
Yeah. One of the publications posted by Oprah News about a year ago is titled, Amma Governor, a popular YouTuber has detailed her first time doing it with a 30-year-old woman. And now... when this petition was published on social media, some people tried to, there was a contact under it, you know. So some people tried sending mobile money to it, and the name popped up as Ghanaian journalist Richard Sky. But he has come out to deny, that.
What's he been saying?
He says, he put up a statement on his Facebook page and says, my attention has been drawn to a document in circulation in which the author has asked the General Legal Council to investigate a person said to be a student of the Ghana School of Law. To avoid doubt, the number displayed it. It's my number, but I did not utter the document in question. Also, I'm not connected to anyone involved with the said document. I've since drawn the attention of the relevant authorities to the issue for the appropriate redress.
But in all this, has Elon Ababio said anything about this particular decision by the Ghana Bar the General Legal Council?
Well, she touched on it a little bit. We've been monitoring her social media account, Twitter, today. She's not really posted anything about it today, but the issue is still trending on Twitter, number one. In fact, it was trending yesterday, number one, and it's still topping the trends, number one. Let me just read two comments from there for you. One from Nana Majima Asante. She says, quote, Ama governor has been promoting LGBTQI in Ghana, which is against the law, and she wants to be a lawyer. Unquote. I blame the people who destroyed public education in Ghana for the illogical arguments, I have heard.
Okay, we can hear from Roxanne Nelson Dafamakbo on this.
Yes, I agree that part of the eligibility criteria, you are supposed to pass your exam, and you are also supposed, there is also supposed to be a report of good conduct. Now, if there's supposed to be a report of good conduct, how is the good conduct determined when there's a complaint? The General Legal Council ought to wait and ensure that internal inquiry by the Ghana School of Law is exhausted and there's a report. So what the General Legal Council is supposed to do is to go ahead and, because you see, you must be innocent until proven guilty. That is the principle we work with in this country.
That's Roxanne Nelson, the Farmer Boy. It's time for Tech Thursday, and we're focusing on an app dubbed Call Away to provide a live feed or capture an emergency caller for technical assistance. Kwesi Debra has more.
With all this, we're inspired to take on our project, which we call the Call Away project. Call Away basically is a report management system to serve as an alternate to the toll-free system, and it comes with certain interesting features that solves the aforementioned problems. Yeah, so with Call Away, you can select from these buttons which problem you want to report, if it's water-related, it's electricity-related, or others. There's a camera feature that allows the user to take either an image or a video of the problem. And with this, we believe it will give the utility firms more knowledge or to give them more details about the problem at hand, which will help them to equip themselves appropriately before they come to the site of the problem. So after the picture is taken, the coordinates of wherever you took the picture from is generated, which is seen here. And then Call Away also gives you the option to record your voice to further describe the problem, or type in the description field to throw more light on the problem at hand.
Well, those are the developer of this app. They're students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. You need to check it out. It's Call Away. That's the app. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of Newsnight. I'll leave you in the safe hands of Jojo Kobina, bringing us issues about the city in this special feature. After that, we'll bring you Personality Profile. And we are hosting Nelson De Segla, is the CEO of Koba. You want to stay with Lexis Bill on Personality Profile. But Jojo Kobina talks about the cedi.
According to Bloomberg, the cedi is the world's worst performing currency. The currency's performance against all trading currencies, particularly the US dollar, has caused widespread concern. But the problem did not begin now. I could go further, but let's stick to 2012. The then governor of the Bank of Ghana, Kwesi Misa-Arthur, called on Ghanaians to stop undermining the cedi. Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia disagreed and tweeted on 3rd May 2012, and I quote, "The government is blaming speculators for the fall in the cedi instead of tackling its depreciation." He tweeted again, "The free fall of the cedi, which was being witnessed, is a vote of no confidence in the management of the economy."
When in doubt, observe the exchange rate.
The cedi worsened in 2014, and many people were perplexed. The cedi was 3 cedis 20 pesos at the end of that year. The cedi lost cumulatively 31.3% against the dollar. Anita Disosu of the NDC even speculated that dwarfs were sitting on the cedi. When the cedi further depreciated, the General Overseer of the Action Chapel, Archbishop Duncan Williams, prayed for the cedi to rise.
I hold up the cedi with prayer, and I command the cedi to recover, and I declare the cedi will not fall. It will not fall. It will not fall any further. It goes out. I command the city to climb. Say, I command the resurrection of the city.